I'm Bruce A. Parr, and you're watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog is brought to you by Chase Media Group, publisher of The Penny Saver, and also, as we like to say, a provider of multimedia marketing solutions for an omni-channel marketplace. And what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. Omni-channel marketplace basically means that these days in the 21st century, we have, of course, print, like The Penny Saver, which goes to well over 175,000 homes, and also digital, which could be online websites or social media or email or mobile or any number of other channels by which information and advertising gets to you. And we like to thank our CEO, Carla Chase, and our Chief Strategy Officer and my occasional co-host, Frank J. Rich, for putting the show up. And you can also see all the previous shows on YouTube at the TownLink TV channel. So just search for TownLink TV on YouTube and all of our previous shows will come up. Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog likes to focus on people in the community who are making very special and even unique contributions to our quality of life and our just general enjoyment. And in terms of helping local communities, my guest today epitomizes that mission, and that would be Ed Lachterman, my friend Ed Lachterman, who is president of the Yorktown Lions Club. Of course, the Lions are an international organization, and we're going to be talking about some of the numbers are actually staggering, Ed, about how big the Lions Club is around the world, and
yes,
of course in the United States. In particular. And congratulations, because you recently, right, this is your first term, you recently became president of the Lions Club.
Officially took over July 1st.
July 1st. So, and how long is the term, by the way?
1 year.
1 year, right. And as long as I've known you, I came to know you really through your charity work and your fundraising, and you're always involved in those types of things. I remember that you were involved in putting on the Lustgarten Foundation, right, fundraiser?
Yes, we did. Actually, 2 years in a row, we did an Oktoberfest function to raise money for the Lustgarten Foundation to help defeat pancreatic cancer.
Right.
And we held that at Murphy's Restaurant both years. Had some great entertainment, most notably Class Action, a local band.
A local band, yes.
And we also had a local comedian, John Ivarone, who does
right.
a lot of work in the like Foxwood scenes and the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Very, very funny guy.
Yes, yeah, I've seen John too. And just by coincidence, the Lustgarten Foundation is part of Cablevision, whereas we are recording the show in the Peekskill Cablevision studios, and of course it's named for one of their former executives who tragically
passed from pancreatic cancer.
Was really a victim of that terrible pancreatic cancer. I mean, I have a friend of mine, Eddie Baer from Yorktown, who passed away a few years ago from pancreatic cancer, and it is considered to be the worst, least survivable form of cancer.
Yes.
It's just very bad. Every cancer is bad, and that's the worst of them all.
Well, my wife lost her grandmother to it, and another local Yorktown resident who went to school with my wife, who grew up in Yorktown, was Robbie Olmsted. He passed away from pancreatic cancer too,
Right.
which is why I got involved in the the fundraiser.
And that's, yeah, so you have obviously a personal connection to it.
Yes.
As I do through, again, Eddie Bear, a friend of mine, a golfing buddy, a friend, a good, really great guy. And also, Ed, professionally speaking, you have a background and expertise in the hospitality business. So it would seem that really those two go together. In other words, and I've seen you in action, and we're going to talk a little bit also about our foundation's golf event, which you are very, very generously helping us with. But there would seem to be a logical connection between somebody who has your experience in hospitality putting on these kinds of fundraisers, which tend to look easier to put on than they really are, right? I mean,
Yeah, they definitely hopefully they look easier.
right, because that means you're doing a good job. It's all the behind the scenes work.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, I had, with my background in hospitality, I'm now a director of food service for a school and a residential treatment center for at-risk youth. But I also did start a side business of hospitality consulting, the Ultimate Service Agency.
Right.
And through that, I have gotten involved to help other fundraisers as we're working together. But as you know, when it comes to charitable work and fundraising, I don't really feel it's appropriate for me to have a salary. So that's part of my company's mission to help as we can.
Right.
As a gratis type of thing.
Yeah, well, as they say, sometimes it's applied, I guess, most commonly to law firms when they do that kind of work. It's pro bono,
yeah.
right? It's for the good of the,
Yes.
the good of the community, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, so that, again, that's extremely commendable of you, and I thank you publicly as well as I always thank you privately for
Not a
for
problem.
doing all the work, not just for our foundation, but in general. You really do a lot of great work, as does your wife Carol, and as does Carol's brother Mike McTighe, who used to be with the Yorktown Police Department, and he's a great guy too.
And
yeah.
yes, he is, and don't forget her mother Rose McTighe, who's
Right.
also a board member of the Lions this year as well.
Right.
Carol and Rose are both on the board.
Right, and let's talk about that. In your family, were there your father or anywhere in your ancestry were there lions?
Actually, no. I got involved with Circle K, which is
sure.
well, first it was Key Club in high school, Circle K in college, and
Circle K, is that connected to the convenience store chain?
No.
Because there is, as you know, in another part of the country, in the western part, it's like 7-Eleven.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the Circle K International is actually a college level of Kiwanis International. Key Club is their high school level.
Oh, okay.
The Lions have the Leos as their high
youth.
school and youth, and they actually go up to 25 years of age. So they don't have the 3 layers; they only have 2. But I got involved in college, and from my point of view, I don't feel that throwing money to a charity, not knowing how it's spent, is really the way to do something.
Right.
I think that if you care about something, you get involved, you help, you participate, and you support through your actions. Sometimes there's money involved, but
Right.
Giving your actions out there is, to me, just a much more, I don't want to say noble, but a much better use of your resources.
Well, and I would also say it's much more in the spirit of charity in its original sense, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what charity is. It's giving of yourself to help other people. Really,
Yes.
It's not making a business per se out of it. Although, I mean, there is that component of it because you need revenue to run a charity and to raise money.
Yes. But a lot of it depends on what is the money going to.
Yes,
and,
right.
We'll look at, since we brought up Cablevision, Lustgarten Foundation. I might not agree with how the Dolans manage the Knicks or Rangers, being a New York fan, but I could definitely, I have to say, I highly respect what they do with the Lustgarten Foundation.
Right.
They, as far as I see, they basically put a part of their budget aside to operate it. So all of the money raised is used towards the research and helping the families. And that's a phenomenal thing. That is unbelievably generous and gracious, and it's really that's charity.
Right. I mean, just as an aside, my wife Elise went to high school with Jimmy Dolan, and she used to tease our late son Harrison, who was a huge sports fan. Well, if I married Jimmy Dillon, you'd be sitting next to Spike Lee now at the Knicks games. But you have to say, in terms of the Knicks, just as long as you brought that up, he brought in Phil Jackson and they kept Carmelo. So
yep,
right?
We'll have to see. This is a new year. I'm not counting this year yet.
Right.
I don't count it till it's in the books.
No, well, I mean, you're right that the Knicks in recent years have had a very checkered history, that's for sure.
Yes.
Ever since the glory years.
Yes. Although the Rangers had a great year last year.
Yeah, right.
I hope they could keep up on that.
Right. And of course, owning and managing teams in New York is no
picnic.
easy feat. The pressure is just, it's most pressure you could have in any owning any sports team. Right?
But at least there's so many understanding fans.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Right. And they express their understanding with that interesting sound, boo.
I thought that was for Lou Piniella.
Oh, right. So with the Yorktown Lions, and we want to make sure everybody understands, we're talking about the Lions clubs in general because, of course, this program goes out to a lot of areas in the Hudson Valley, not just Yorktown. And the Lions do a tremendous amount of work, and it's coming up actually on the 100th anniversary in 2017. Yeah, because it was founded in 1917 by, interestingly enough, I did my homework and went to the Lions Club International website by a rather young man who was 38 years old at the time in Chicago. And he felt, and I love this because, as you, I'd like to do my share of community work and volunteering. And so Melvin Jones, who was the founder of the Lions in 1917, wondered, what if people put their talents to work improving their communities? And so since then, 97 years later, his legacy is quite remarkable, that the Lions Club around the world has more than 1.35 million members, 46,000 clubs, 140 countries, and then you mentioned the Leos, which goes up to, you said, 25 years old,
right.
160,000 Leos in 6,400 clubs. And one of the most interesting things, I mean, I have been aware, as is anybody who is certainly in the Lions or even follows them, about your commitment to working for the blind,
yes,
on behalf of the blind. And in 1925, Helen Keller addressed the Lions Club and challenged them to become, in her phrase, Knights of the Blind in the crusade against darkness. So that's one of the main missions.
Yes, it is. One of the biggest things we support, which I actually just passed a couple of trainees, is Guiding Eyes for the Blind.
Right.
Right. It's a main focus for us. But you will notice that every club takes on the personality of its community.
Okay.
The Lions are not just about the eyeglass collections, and that's something that some people think, oh, I know the Lions, they have the collection box for eyeglasses, which now we actually take hearing aids as well.
Okay.
So, and recycle hearing aids. But I find that the clubs, and, they're in this local area, you have Somers, you have Hanhud, you have Croton, you have Valhalla, they're all over. And each club has a little bit of focus based on the needs of their community.
Right.
And Yorktown is a terrific community for working, working in a charitable organization, because there's so many people that believe in supporting their community in Yorktown.
Right. Yes, there are. Yeah.
So,
well, as our friend Supervisor Michael Grace likes to say, Yorktown is an example of local exceptionalism. It's because you do have it's a large town relative to Westchester County and Hudson Valley. It is a large place, but you do have so many people who you see all the time volunteering their time for all the events that go on in Yorktown, whether it's Relay for Life, which is obviously a very big deal, or the Lions, or the Rotary, or the Elks, or Knights of Columbus, all of those service clubs as well.
Yes.
And it's really heartening to see that.
And my brother Vinny,
my brother Vinny, right? Paula Mirtella has done an amazing job, with that group. Love in Action is another. We can go on and on.
Yeah, it's the Harrison Apar Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, people just want to help. And I wanted to read, by the way, speaking of that, the mission statement of the Lions that's on the website,
Sure.
which is to empower volunteers to serve their communities, meet humanitarian needs, encourage peace, and promote international understanding through Lions clubs. And certain things, especially when it comes to words, I'm a stickler for, as you know. And I have to say, that is a shining example of what a mission statement is supposed to be. And by that I mean it's very terse, it's very short and concise. And lately I've seen mission statements, and I'll comment on it to an organization whose mission statement I'm looking at. A mission statement is not supposed to be promotional. It's supposed to be a statement of purpose, not a statement of promotion. And this is purely a statement of purpose. And when it's promotional, it's because they start using superlatives like, we want to be the best. A mission statement is not supposed to contain superlatives. It's supposed to state very objectively.
What do you want to do?
Right. Well, and the other part of it will come if you're meeting your mission statement. But it's not a mission to say we're going to be the best this or that. That's just self-promotion. No. So it's not surprising to me that the Lions Club is one organization that gets the mission statement right in the traditional sense of mission statements. Another thing I know that the Yorktown Lions like to do, and I don't know if this is what you were referring to, is just reflecting its community, or cookouts. You like to do barbecues, like at whether it's at Community Day or you just had your golf outing, which was a cook-in. But
Yes.
And of course, one of the big things you do that we just completed for the 10th year is the summer concerts
Yes.
in Yorktown, where you bring in tribute bands and even local bands, and you get how many people? Ed? Like 1,000 or?
Some concerts, I think the biggest attracted drawn concert this time, just because of the weather and the time it landed, was the Billy Joel tribute band. And you're familiar with the field. We were
DeVito Memorial Park, yeah.
DeVito Veterans
Memorial
Don't forget
Park,
our veterans.
Yes, right.
Or Jack DeVito.
Yeah,
But
yes.
the crowd was past the 50-yard line.
Of the soccer field.
Of the soccer
Yeah,
field,
right.
or the halfway point of the soccer field. It was unbelievable. There had to have been 1,500 to 2,000
yeah,
people
that's-
just for
yeah.
that concert.
Right.
The indoor concerts, we can only hold 550, and we had 2 of them this year because it rained,
Right.
or threatened rain. Poor Lou Amico was beside himself, because they get to a certain point because of safety. They're calling for thunder showers with a 40 to 50% chance. You can't have people in the field. You can't have
Right.
that
No, that's right.
equipment. So we moved inside, and both times there were false alarms.
Yeah, but again, it's safety first.
Yes, absolutely. But I would say we average at least 1,000 to 1,100 per concert.
Yeah, no, I mean that's obviously a signature event of Yorktown.
Yes.
But it's not just Yorktown. I'm sure people come from
they're-
surrounding communities to hear that.
Absolutely.
It's the summertime. It's a Sunday evening. You're sitting outside with your picnic and your chair. I mean, what better way to spend a Sunday evening?
And one of our sponsors, WHUD, and they announce it. Another one of our sponsors is the Examiner News, and they put it through. Yorktown News, they put it through. So it definitely hits a lot of different areas,
Right.
and does draw. I've met people from the Bronx. Matter of fact, I was talking to a gentleman this year who was from California. He didn't come in for the concert. He
Right.
came in for family living in Yorktown, but I thought it was pretty cool that, hey, someone from California at our local concert.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. And the Leos are very, very close to my heart. I mean, for one thing, I'll have to just go immodest here, but in 2010, I was humbled by being their Citizen of the Year, the Leo Club. They do every year. They're really, really generous in helping us at our golf outing,
Yes.
the Harrison A. Parr YSC Golf Classic. They basically act as bag boys and girls, and they help out with that. The Leos represent, I think, directly the future of the Lions Club, right? Somebody recently mentioned to me, they were referring to another, similar service club. I'm not going to say who, a very, very well-known and worthy club, but they observed that it seemed to them, in their experience, that the Lions are able, maybe better than other clubs, to keep recruiting younger people in, some of the other clubs sometimes, that maybe they have more of a challenge in, keeping the next generation interested and getting them as members. But this person said, no, the Lions always seem to be able to bring in younger people, and then there's a nice succession in that way.
Well, we would definitely, we would love to see more of the Leos
Right.
participate in the Lions as they, age out of the Leos club, and we hope that there's a passion for that work that they do, the community service, that carries on, and sometimes it takes getting their life in order. It was years before I came back from my college time to actually join the Lions. I've only
Right.
been in the Lions 3.5 years now, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So your ascension to the presidency, Ed, is even more impressive in that context.
Well,
No, really. I mean, that's. But as you say, when people, everybody's different. Some students in college get very active then with this type of thing. In other cases, you get out and you have to settle in first.
right. But I must say the Leos are great at repopulating, because
Yeah.
we lose kids every 4 years, they graduate out. And that solely goes on the credit of Al Avidable, one of our Lions,
Right.
who's the sponsor, advisor
right.
for the Leos. He is phenomenal with the kids.
Yeah.
They love
Right.
Mr. A, as they call
Right.
him. And you know what? As much as they love him, it's twofold, threefold, fourfold how much he loves working with
Oh,
the
I know.
kids.
I know that with Al. And how many Leos are there now?
Oh my goodness. I am not sure what the number is, but I know they're in all of the schools. I think at one point.
Maybe is it 40 or 50 or more than that?
Oh no,
100?
it's more than that.
Like
It's actually probably closer to 200.
Two? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that
Yeah.
high. Yeah.
And we even have some Leos in Westchester Exceptional Children's School.
Right.
So we've definitely, our club has branched out, and the kids are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Nothing less you could say.
And I remember a few years ago when I was publisher of North County News, Al took me to the exceptional school, Westchester Exceptional School, which is, quite an experience to go through there and see those, young people and, how they were coping and getting on with their lives, despite formidable challenges. But it's very inspiring.
Yes, I actually know the lady that runs it, Linda Zinn. Her son actually worked for me when I was in another career with Applebee's, and the work they do, and I deal with a lot of children in similar situations in my school, but for Northern Westchester, hands down the best atmosphere for a child with autism
Right.
or Asperger's,
Right.
who's they focus not only on the community of people, but they focus on job training, and there's a lot of love, a lot of care,
Right.
and the kids don't end up in a back seat, which unfortunately happens in some of our local systems,
Yeah, mainstream
the public schools. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's in Purdy's, isn't it? Or North Salem, or
I think
yeah.
it's considered Salem.
Salem, yeah,
with
right.
North Salem.
Right.
They do have a website, I know.
Yeah, yeah. And I also wanted to go back and talking about the Leos, that our golf outing is coming up, so I'm gonna get in the proverbial shameless plug, but obviously it's for charity. It's and the Harrison A. Field of Dreams Foundation, as you well know, helps recreation and education, in the community. The way I like to put it, and this applies to a lot of organizations like ours, is that we supplement public funds with private monies, and that refers to like school budgets. Sometimes they can't always take care of everything that students or parents or even teachers would like. And for that, there's also organizations like the Foundation for Excellence in this community, or other examples in every community. They have things like that to help supplement, whatever the public money is providing. And so that's what we do with it. What I like to say about the Harrison A. Foundation is, we're not making donations. We're collecting money from the community and then giving it back to the community.
Yes.
That's really what we're doing. It's not our money. And so with our golf tournament, which is always Columbus Day at Mohansick, which is a public course, We a few years ago decided that a good marketing hook would be to bring in former Major League Baseball players, and we started off with Tommy John, who has since been back a second time, and then over the years we've had some really fun times with Chris Chambliss and Jerry Kuzman, Rusty Staub, Howard Johnson, and then of course last year we had Bucky Dent, and I know we have our poster, Richard. If you're able to put up the poster just to show the golf outing this year and who we're having. So this year we're having another Yankee that a lot of certainly Yankee fans and others will remember, Mickey Rivers,
who
he used to run around center field and run very fast around center field for the Yankees and steal a lot of bases. And when Mickey is there on October 13th, I know I'm going to ask him about Bucky Dent's story. Bucky Dent told a story last year about how Mickey, who now is known for he likes to play dice and things like that, but he, I guess, had just a friendly bet. I'm going to make that clear. A friendly bet among his teammates about something or other, and then he stashed the cash in his back pocket, because I guess he won the bet. And he's stealing second base, and he slides into second base, and the money's flying all over the infield. So Bucky told that story, and we have to find out from Mickey.
Actually, I think that was supposed to be a bonus that he got.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
He got a bonus,
and they gave it to him in cash.
He insisted on it being in cash.
Oh, right. I wonder why.
I thought John Steinbrenner would be good for it, but
right.
But he insisted on cash.
Being in cash, and he stuck it in his back pocket of his uniform.
Yes.
And he slides into second base, and his bonus ends up
scattered across
littering the field.
Yes.
Right. And so Bucky told, that was one of the great stories Bucky told last year. And then I also want to make sure we mention that we, in the spirit of this whole conversation, we like to honor a local person for doing community work and volunteering. And we call that the Harrison A. Parr YAC PBA Community Service Award, because from the beginning of our foundation, which started when Harrison passed in 2003, we've had a relationship with the Police Benevolent Association, which is really nice, as well as the Yorktown Athletic Club. And so this year, the honoree, extremely fittingly, is Detective Sergeant Jim Graham, he was a 20-year veteran of the Yorktown Department and has been a policeman longer than that. And he's done a lot of work with YAC as a coach, lacrosse and football and softball, I believe. And in fact, Jim Graham's son, Austin Graham, was the goalie on the state champion Yorktown lacrosse team this past season.
Could I just jump in, Bruce, because I know we're running out of time.
We are running out of time.
You mentioned the cooking, and I just want to say actually, you know what, the show won't air before then. We're going to be cooking this Saturday.
We're going to put it on YouTube. But
we're cooking Saturday for the Hydrocephalus Fun Day.
Hydrocephalus pediatric event that Kevin Clement and his daughter Carly, who has
Carly's Angels,
has pediatric hydrocephalus. Yeah, we know Kevin, and we've tried to work with him and help him too. Very good cause.
Yeah. And also, anyone interested in joining the Lions, we will have a Meet the Lions night. It is Wednesday, October 8th at 7 p.m. It will be at the American Legion Hall on Veterans Road in Yorktown.
Right. All
are welcome to attend. There'll be some nice refreshments and a lot of information about the Lions.
And they can go to your website, right?
They could go to our website, www.yorktownlions.com.
Right. All right. That's great, Ed.
And we're real excited about this coming year. For the Lions.
No, I'm sure under your administration, so to speak, the Lions will continue to do a great job in Yorktown and everywhere that they are, all over the world. So we want to thank Ed Lachterman, who is president of the Yorktown Lions Club. And you can join the Lions Club wherever you live, no matter what the community is. And Thank you for watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. And remember, when Bruce the Blog listens, people talk. Thank you.